everybody, it's your boy Jester9535 here. I hope you're having a great day because I am too. I actually just came second place 4-1 at my locals with one of my favorite decks I've played in a long time. It is Paleozoic Frogs. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I might have picked up this deck and started playing it because I got Balti-German swap frogs. Yeah, my German's a little rough, but I was super excited to get these cards, and I might have paid a little bit of a pretty penny for them, but they were so much fun to play. I cannot stress how much fun they were to play today, and honestly, they're a pretty solid deck. Definitely not tier 1, maybe not even tier 2, but that is okay because it can keep up in the meta, especially with some of the insanely powerful trap cards that are in the meta right now. And so I'm going to go over this deck profile that I played today. There are a few changes that I go over with as well, but overall, I was super satisfied with how I did this tournament. My only loss was to Virtual World, so it is what it is, but I have thought about what I could play to beat that matchup, so I might have to side deck some Lancias. But yeah, let me go over this deck profile, and you guys can let me know how you feel. Give me any tips or tricks below, because I'm probably going to be playing this deck for a little bit. So here we go. First, of course, you have the MVP 3 Swap Frog. You honestly want to open this card every single time if you can. It isn't a starter per se on its own. However, it is a really solid card. Honestly, even opening it on its own is not like the worst because you can bounce it right back. It lures a lot of hand traps out of your opponent's hand, and also it's just a really great card to follow up with the next turn, right? So of course you're going to be playing your 3 Swap Frog. You're going to be playing your 3 Dupe Frog as well. Dupe Frog is obviously a fantastic card. Now, some people do play 2. I think you have to play 3, especially because I am playing Potted Desires in my deck, so you don't want to banish 2 of them, and then you don't have basically any frogs to use for your Rodent Totems. So 3 is the number, as well as, honestly, if you're in a grind game, Totally Awesome is going to be pulling out Dupe Frogs left and right. So you're going to want to play 3 of these guys. And then, of course, you got your 2 Rodent Totems. Never needed a third. Don't play 1, though, especially if you're playing Desires. You need to. This 8-card lineup is the perfect frog lineup. It gives you great starters. If you open Swap Frog plus any of the frogs, you have Totally Awesome turn 1, which is fantastic, of course. So yeah, this right here, this was the lineup that I played with the frogs. Great lineup. Next, we play 2 Gameciel. This card is awesome because you do get to pitch it off of Swap Frog because it is an Aqua monster. So you actually can have it in your opening hand, and you will get Totally Awesome with it with your Swap Frog. So usually your starting turn is usually Totally Awesome if you can, plus 3 to 4 set cards. Sometimes you're set in 5, but no, this guy is really fantastic. It's an out to Dragoons in the main deck. It's out to a lot of like. If you're in a grind game, it's out to like, yeah, maybe against Dragon Link, they could bring out their Borlo Savage and out to that, right? It's just very nice to have. It's a good utility card. Highly recommend playing Gameciel in your Frog deck. Next, I'm playing the Trap cards. Now, I'm playing 2 Trap Trick. This card is great. It is a utility card through and through, and even if you desires, you will be able to use it. So it's always pretty much always live. Even if you pot of desires twice, it might be dead then, but you're never really pot of desiring twice before you use your Trap Trick. So 2 Trap Trick is great. You don't need 3 though. 3 Trap Trick might be a little cloggy, especially because it's only once per turn and it locks you into activating only 1 trap that turn. So I personally only recommend 2. It's not the most mandatory card in the world, but it does give you some flexibility with your deck. I am then playing for the Paleozoic lineup. I'm playing 2 Dinomischus. I'm playing 2 Olenoides, 2 Canadia, and 2 Leoncolia. Now, Leoncolia is probably the weakest of the Paleozoics. However, I am playing a card that makes a lot better use of it. However, of course, you can do the usual by putting a frog back in your deck so that your Ronin Totem can go off further. You can put a banished Paleozoic in your grave so that you can reuse your Paleozoics. So definitely a decent card. However, the other three Paleozoics here, the Canadia, is definitely fantastic, especially for against prank kids or decks that require the normal summon. Dinomischus is obviously a fantastic card. It doesn't pitch for cost, which is super nice, even if it lures out a lot of negates, right? And then Olenoides, honestly, it's really nice having a spell and trap removal in the main deck, as it will really help you get rid of like Mystic Mines, get rid of any of those like pesky spell or traps. Or if you're playing against a spell and trap deck, it's a nice card to just have, right? So this lineup is nice. Usually, if you open Trap Trick as well, you're able to kind of bring out any of the options with Paleozoics, which is why I play 2 of each. The only one I would definitely think about playing 3 of would be the Canadia, but honestly, I think there's just better trap cards that you can play. Usually, you only Paleozoic summon like maximum like 3 times, and if you Paleozoic 3 times, you're either winning or straight up losing that game. So yeah, these guys are, I think this is a great Paleozoic lineup. You definitely don't need 3 Dinomischus because he's pitching a card. Sometimes you don't even have a card to pitch or that you want to pitch. So I wouldn't personally play 3 Dinomischus, but it is a powerhouse of a card if it goes off in the right spot. Next up, we got the spice here, okay, boys and girls? We got the spice. It is Fiend Griefing with 2 Backjack. Now, Fiend Griefing is a fantastic card. Not only is it an interruption against a lot of decks, such as PK or Virtual World, right? It lets you get rid of a card that maybe they would want to use. But also, the Backjack is super nice because it basically replaces your Fiend Griefing. Your Fiend Griefing almost becomes like a free card. And then Backjack is crazy. This card is so nice. Not only does it replace itself with another trap card from your deck, but it also lets you tailor the top 3 cards, and a lot of the time you're not actually going back into your deck once you backjack, so you're able to backjack and then maybe put like an Ice Dragon's Prison on top, and then right below it is a Swap Frog, so that you can mill, set your Ice Dragon's Prison, use it that turn as an interruption, and then the backjack allows you to draw into Swap Frog, which is then a follow-up for next turn. If you have a Paleozoic already in the graveyard, that's a free totally awesome. So highly recommend trying this engine out. There was only one time that I banished both of my backjacks off Pot of Desires, and even then it's not a huge deal because your Fiend Griefing is a then you can effect. So that means that you can still shuffle a card from your opponent's graveyard back into their deck. Obviously not as strong, but it's still usable, right? Backjack, but is a crazy card. Love Backjack, super great. And then, of course, we play the power lineup of trap cards here. You're going to be playing your 3 Torrential Tribute, your 3 Ice Dragon's Prison, your 3 Solemn Strike, and your 3 Solemn Judgment. Now, Torrential Tribute, crazy card, especially if you're going first. You can pop a lot of a person's field, get rid of like 2, sometimes 3 monsters, which is crazy. Ice Dragon's Prison, honestly, probably like the best trap card in the entire game. This card is absolutely bananas, and nothing you play locks you into like a card to special summon. Like Altergeist doesn't allow you to summon with Ice Dragon's Prison, but frogs don't lock you into anything, so you're really able to utilize this card to the best of its capabilities. It's also an extender, which is crazy. Like, you get to take one of your opponent's cards and then link off with it if you want, or sometimes, honestly, like, I reborn to Borreload Savage, and I just start beating people with the Borreload Savage, so great card. Judgment, of course, I should go over the Strike. Strike, obviously, great card. You should always play this. It stops hand traps. It stops summons of monsters. It's crazy. This paired with Torrential Tribute or Ice Dragon's Prison is just bananas. It makes sure that your cards go through. The Judgment I was a little bit iffy on. I obviously would recommend either playing it in the side deck or the main deck. I decided to go with the main deck, and it did a really good job. I really enjoyed the card. However, it doesn't stop everything. especially like kind of inherent summons. But also it's sometimes it's a little much, right? You're going 1 for 1, but you're paying half of your life points. So sometimes if you don't have enough trap cards, your opponent can kill you from 4,000 life points. So you just have to be careful with your judgments. But it is a fantastic card, especially if you can hold it for after like a strike or two. Then you're not paying as much, and you're getting a lot better value out of your judgment. But this card was fantastic. And then just the 3 spell cards that I play are 3 desires. Desires was really good today. I really love Desires. I think it's a lot better than Prosperity and Extravagance in this deck. Extravagance, you have the chance of losing you're totally awesome, which is honestly you never want that to happen. As well as it could get rid of like your Zeus, which is really important. It could get rid of any of your like super poly targets that you may need, right? Very important that you keep those in the deck, in the extra deck. And then Prosperity, the only problem with Prosperity is it doesn't give you that +1, and a lot of the times you really want +1s, especially in trap decks, because you're able to make sure that you have that extra trap, that extra interruption to stop your opponent, or it might draw into like a frog, which then you could pitch and special summon your swap frogs, that make it totally awesome, right? So I highly recommend this card. It never really like hurt me that much. I even did it twice in a couple games, and it still didn't hurt me. So I highly recommend Desires in this deck specifically. So that is the main deck. It is 40 cards here. I really enjoyed this lineup. There's very few things in the main deck that I would switch up. Maybe, as I said, maybe the Judgment might come out into the side deck for something else. But other than that, honestly, it felt very solid of a main deck. We'll go right into extra deck, right? So we got our token, obviously, pointless. We got our 2 totally awesome now. You can play 3 totally awesome. I didn't ever find a need to play 3 totally awesome, especially because I went into the next exceed a lot of times as well. But totally awesome, obviously a fantastic card. If you can make it going first, you can stop. I honestly stopped a Mystic Mine with a totally awesome, and then I set it to my field so that I was able to reactivate it on my opponent's turn and just totally shut them out. Like, it was fantastic. Lets you set like imperms a lot. Lets you set like it just lets you set like a lot of good cards to your side of the field, and then it adds back totally awesome for follow-up play. So totally awesome. Don't need to tell you guys if you're playing frogs, you know how good this card is. Next, I play Paleozoic Opabenia. This card was really good, actually. It really helped me out in a few matchups. You're able to special summon it in defense mode. It's unaffected by monster effects, which a lot of people forget that it can't be hand trapped really at all. And it also is great because it allows you to activate like your Canadias and your Dinomischus's right from your hand. And if you have one of your Paleozoics, you can just detach it, add a Paleozoic, activate the Paleozoic trap card right from your hand, and then get the Paleozoic special summon from the graveyard, which will then lead usually to another totally awesome, right? This card is crazy. I really enjoyed it, and I was able to actually summon it, attack with it into a defense position monster. They couldn't interrupt me with monster effects, and then I was able to go into a double overlaid Zeus for 2 cents, which was really awesome. I then play Animalicaris. This card was alright. I honestly didn't use it that much. That could totally be a 3rd totally awesome. However, it is pretty cool. Like, it lets you pop cards on your opponent's field, so you're able to kind of use it as like an interruption if you can. And it also, what is it? It lets you like reset trap cards. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I really didn't use this card that much. It was okay. It's cool to be in the extra deck, but definitely like the weakest card in the extra deck today. So, Downerd and Zeus. You need the Downerd for this deck because it allows you to get 2 sends off of your Zeus, which is very important. Downerd is awesome in this deck, and Zeus is awesome in this deck. So that was the Exceed lineup. I really enjoyed it. As I said, this guy could probably be another totally awesome. Now for the Link lineup, I played... Instead of a Link Karibo, I played a Relinquished Anima. Now, this card actually came up like once or twice, but basically you normal summon Backjack, link it off for your Anima, and then you'll get to kind of look at your deck, set a trap card, whatever. So this card was pretty good. It came up a few times, but also, like I said, going second, you were able to normal summon out your backjack, link off the backjack, summon out anima, maybe take one of your opponent's cards, or at least cause an interruption to be activated, and then you were able to set your back row and have a backjack in your graveyard ready for follow-up, which is really nice. I went into this card, literally, I never used the effect of IP on my opponent's turn. I literally just used it to summon out Avermax to make it unaffected or non-destroyable by card effects. This card's really good. It's paired with the Phoenix. These were my only two Link 2s in the deck, but you would go into Nightmare Phoenix to like pop your opponent back row, obviously, but then you would link both these guys off together into Avermax or Access Code Talker, depending on which one you wanted. And then I played the Nightmare Unicorn, obviously, to let you link off into Access Code Talker with 5300. It also, like, if you wanted to link climb, you'd link climb into these two, and it gave you 2 pops with the access code, which is important, obviously. Access Code Talker, there's not much to say about Access Code Talker. It's broken. This card's so good. This card's way better than Borrelsword. I don't know why people say you can replace Borrelsword with Access Code. You honestly can't. Access Code is $200 for a reason. This card is bananas. It's so good. And then Avermax. Avermax was so clutch today. There was twice where I summoned Avermax with an IP, so it couldn't be targeted, destroyed by card effects, couldn't be battled over, and then if it did somehow die for some reason, you got to spin a card. Like, it was actually insane today, and sitting with that with like 2 or 3 back row usually means you just straight up win the game. So this card was really crazy, and it's really good in this deck. It's one of the few decks that really can utilize Avermax to the best of its ability. Next, that is a fusion monster. So those were the link monsters. So 6 link monsters, 6 XE monsters, and then 3 fusions. You obviously have your 2 super poly targets. Your Starving Venom, which is 2 dark monsters, and then Mud Dragon, which is a different attribute but same type. Same attribute, different type. It's pretty good. This card came up with like against Virtual World, or not Virtual World. Dragon Link. Like, it's pretty. It's okay. It's good. I really liked it. It was good. Super Poly was really good today, but honestly, it wasn't like super amazing, especially if you played like the Despia deck. Like, that card can utilize Super Poly like nobody's business. So this deck didn't really like utilize Super Poly to like the best of its capabilities, but it is a really good card and it does help out a lot. So these 2 were like the targets for it, and then the Last Warrior from Another Planet. I chose this over Ultimate Falcon. Honestly, I would probably do the reversal and choose Ultimate Falcon over this card. This card I did end up getting out twice off of the Waking the Dragon, but both times it ended up getting negated and didn't really do as much as I would have wanted. So yeah, the theory behind it, though, is that you can summon it out in defense mode. Your opponent can't summon cards, obviously, and then you're able to kind of draw into your back row and set your back row back up, and then you're able to kind of continue on for when they actually do get rid of it. But I think Ultimate Falcon would honestly just be better because it's unaffected by card effects, and it's so big that they're honestly not getting over it anyways. So I think that Ultimate Falcon is probably the better call, but you can kind of choose whichever one you wanted. So yeah, that is the extra deck right there. And last but not least, we'll go over the side deck. So I played Dino Wrestler Pancratops. This card was great. Allowed you to destroy back row. Allowed you to get rid of like one of your opponent's interruptions. This card was all right. It's good. I mean, Dino Wrestler Pancratops is always good. It's a solid side deck card. But yeah, I didn't have anything else that I really wanted to play with it instead of it. So great card, but definitely not the best card in the side deck. The best card in the side deck, by far, Dimension Shifter. This card is insane. I actually am contemplating main decking this, because the thing is, you can normal summon Swap Frog, or pitch for Swap Frog effect, right? So pitch Dupe Frog. Let's say you pitch Dupe Frog, dump Ronin Totem, banish Dupe Frog for Ronin Totem, overlay for Totally Awesome, and you can then Dimension Shifter. So you're able to de-shifter after you've already made your Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome plus Dimension Shifter on your opponent's turn. or activate it on your turn for your opponent's turn, and you still get follow-up, is literally, it wins you the game. It wins you the game. This card is bananas. Pretty much no deck can play against, or like going through this card. This card's just like too crazy. Macrocosmos on your opponent's turn, just bananas. Honestly, I would really contemplate main decking this card. It is really good, but it basically came in every single time I went second. Basically every single time, and honestly sometimes going first. So this card was crazy. Definitely highly recommend trying it out in Frogs. Lightning Storm. I played 3 Lightning Storm. This was against back row decks, and honestly, just going second, it was a great card. Let me blow up my opponent's back row or front board, right? And yeah, this card was a great card, and a lot of the time you can actually activate it like turn 4, 5, 6, etc. You can activate it like later on down the road, because a lot of your time you're just going to have set spell or trap cards face down, and because it's not face up, it worked. So this card was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. 3 Super Poly, again, board breaker. As I said already, it was an alright card. It was good. Did a good job. 3 Rivalry of Warlord. This card was awesome. Let me go into my totally awesome. Then I could activate Rivalry on my opponent's turn, and they basically were like, okay, I can't do anything. You have like the Omni Negate with totally awesome, and then you can still follow up, because pretty much every single card you're going to be playing is an Aqua monster. So this card was great. I wouldn't main deck it though, because it's not good at going against every single deck in the format. It's just good against most of them. And then the last 2 cards were 2 Waking the Dragons. This card was alright. I actually am highly contemplating putting in Dark Bribe in this deck, in the side deck, just maybe 2 Dark Bribe instead of the Awaken the Dragon, just to stop Lightning Storm and Harpy's Feather Duster, because those cards were... I lost my game against Virtual World because of Lightning Storm. He just Lightning Stormed me, and I couldn't do anything about it, right? No back row. So, yeah, I would highly recommend trying this deck out. It was super fun to play. And really, it's not very expensive at all. Like, you can get all of this stuff for low rarity. For commons, you can get all of the stuff in common, basically. So I would recommend checking this deck out, trying it out, and yeah. Thank you guys very much for checking me out. Please hit the subscribe button. Please, please. It would really, I would really appreciate it at time. And also, please comment down below, like, what deck do you guys want to see next? Or even if you want to see deck profiles at all, if you want to see pack openings, if you want to see me duel at my locals. I'm thinking about bringing my camera there. So yeah, you guys could see maybe a few remote duel recordings. Just let me know what you guys wanted to see, and smash that like button, and hit the subscribe notification bell. Thank you guys very much. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Jester9535, I'm out.